Okay, so I think recording started. Yep, recording's on. Okay. So just another reminder about the recording. It shows up in the chat section of this class. So all you have to do is go back to the link that you just did and go to the chat and it will be there, but just give it a little bit. It doesn't appear automatically. It takes sometimes a couple hours or longer, depending on the length of the recording. All right. So let's get started. Okay, sorry. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen here. So how to create and execute a marketing plan. So the key point of this, the key basic of this is obviously preparation. This is one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln. It says, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." This goes so much with marketing plans. Research and as much planning is needed in order to create a successful marketing plan. So obviously a marketing plan, it's going to outline your sales goal for the year. It's going to give you a detailed budget, your target audience, your marketing advertising plans, and other strategies to grow your business. This is crucial, guys. And I know a lot of you guys are not doing this. You kind of wing it with this. If you guys could take this and just do it the one time as an outline of what I'm showing you today, I guarantee you will have a much clearer understanding about your business, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to target. So obviously the things that a marketing plan will do, it'll give you the right tools and messages to effectively reach your audience, ways to better serve your clients, where you want your business to be, and how you're going to get there. It'll help you measure the performance of your marketing efforts, which is crucial if you're spending any kind of money. You want to know where your money's going. And it'll help you to recognize when and where you need to make a course correction. These are crucial in helping you spend your budget and your money wisely. So how do you structure your marketing plan? First is to set your goals, first and foremost. And these are your overall business goals of what you want to accomplish. So here's an example. So the backbone of any marketing plan is really what do you want to achieve in the short term and the long term. So here's an example of creating like a brief statement. There's a couple examples here that you can go off. So I have it in here as generic that you could fill in the blanks. So here's one is we intend to provide, it could be buyer or seller, with exceptional real estate service or exceptional customer service, wherever you want to put in there, that makes them feel comfortable, secure, whatever, again, you want to put in there, to work with us, not only during the buying, selling process, but also beyond closing. So they'll refer their friends and family. I know this may sound cheesy to some of you to do this, but I'm telling you, for some reason, when you actually establish this, it helps you then determine what you're trying to accomplish with your marketing. And then there's another example below. Our company will change the way you put in the target customer, think about the real estate market, how we provide, and you can list a few services. We will assure them that we are the best partners in real estate. This will help you set the tone for how you're going to have your marketing plan, and your business basically becomes your business plan. Excuse me. So first and foremost is define your objectives and goals. Develop a big picture vision for your business. So think about, like, what is that? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What does success to you look like? Is it establishing a certain number of new clients? Maybe it's obtaining a number of referrals from past or present clients, or maybe it's hurting like a certain sales figure of just your own, or maybe you want to build a team or become a top producer in your area. These are things that you need to determine or what your goals are. And this is going to help you then be able to create a strategy to achieve those goals. So obviously with any goals, is you want to make sure that they're realistic and achievable. Because you don't want to set goals for yourself that you can't meet, because then you will just get discouraged and you won't want to set them again. You won't want to set another goal. So the point is to set in a goal that you're going to be able to obtain, but not too easy. So then you know when you achieve that goal, you're going to rock and hit a new goal. So maybe here's some examples. Maybe you want to obtain 20 listings. Again, this is aggressive. You could put it whatever it is to you. Maybe you want to achieve 50% name recognition in your target market area. Or maybe you want to see a certain amount of referrals from your past customer or your sphere of influence. Or maybe you just want to secure 20% of the share of the market in your target area. So these are the things that you need to determine first before you should even plan your marketing plans. So here's an example of some of the goals. So what are your strategies for achieving your business goals? Here's an example of, say you want to close $2 million in sales for the year. Well, in order to do that, the strategy would be that you would have to be recognized as one of the top 10 real estate agents for home sellers in the county. So then a tactical goal is going to help you accomplish that strategic goal. So then, okay, so your strategy is be recognized as one of the top 10 real estate agents. So automatically you should be in your head as you have these goals. You should start thinking of, how am I going to do that? Things should start popping into your head of how am I going to get there? And that's the purpose of this. So the tactic could be then you're going to post 10 customer reviews per month to our Zillow group page. I mean, obviously this is just an example from somewhere else, but that could be anything. You know, already, I'm sure a lot of you already have in your head, if you said, okay, I want to be recognized as one of the top 10 real estate agents in my county or in my region, you automatically are already thinking about things that you have to do in order to implement that and to make that effective, which should then relay into your marketing plan. So first and foremost is explaining your research. I can't even push this enough of how much research is involved in doing a marketing plan. And this is going to help you immensely. And not only is it going to make it clearer for you on what your goal is, but it's also going to make you stronger when you go to a seller and try to get that listing. So first and foremost is do your research. This is huge, guys. Know who you are and what you're selling and who you're selling to. I know that seems easier for you, but really know your target market, your target audience that you're trying to get, because they're all different. A first-time home buyer is very different than an empty nester or an investor. They're very different approaches in marketing. So you have to be clear on what you're trying to achieve and who you're trying to target. And first and foremost, shop your competition. I can't stress this enough. Shop your competition. So I used to work for a lot of builders and developers, and every new community that we would go in and do, I shopped all the competition. I went in as a salesperson acting like I was going to buy. This is the great thing about shopping your competition. First of all, you see what you're up against. So you know what objections are going to come from anybody else that you're going to meet with. You already know what their strengths are. And then on top of that, you're going to find out what their weaknesses are, which is going to give you an advantage in the marketplace. And on top of that, you're going to get some of their marketing materials, which is going to automatically help give you ideas for your marketing materials. I used to have a folder of everyone I'd shop, and I had all my marketing materials in there, so I knew how to make it better on my end. And that's the key with marketing, guys. That's all marketing is. It's always taking somebody else's concept and you make it better. So the more that you know about your competitor, the more that you're going to be able to compete against them and beat them in the market. So things like subscribe to their things. I tell you guys all the time, anyone who's taken my social media classes, I tell you all the time, like, don't invite realtors onto your social media. This is why, because exactly what I'm telling you to do. This is why I'm saying, don't let them in, because they will steal it. This is the purpose of it. But you guys should be aware of emails that they're sending out. Subscribe to their list, follow them on all their social media, so you can find out what they're doing and be ahead of them, or be right in with them and be ahead anytime that you can. So things to think about is look at their website, look at how they're driving leads, look at if they have a lead capture page on there, or if they're doing ads. These things, when you go and you start doing this research, I guarantee you're going to start getting ideas for your marketing and what you want to do. Excuse me. Look at how they're formatted on their listings. Look at how they're wording their listings to attract buyers. If you follow somebody who's getting a ton of listings, look at what they're doing right. Look at it. Look at every aspect of what they're doing. It's going to help you guys. And again, I'm not saying copy it, but you can take what they are doing and make it better. You know, look, if you think everyone is advertising in a certain magazine, look at the magazine, see who's in it. That will then determine if you should even go in a magazine or not. Don't waste your money if you see one agent in there. Why would you advertise in there? That's also going to help you with planning your marketing. So look at how are they marketing on the social media? Look at how they're branding themselves. What kind of topics are they utilizing? Pay attention to their followers. This is a key opportunity to where you can go after their people. Are they using Facebook ads or any kind of Google ads? Research that and see what demographics are they targeting. What keywords are they using in these ads? This is where this research comes into place. So then you could then take your plan once you have all these facts in and make it better. So look at everything, look at the billboards, the flyers, every kind of marketing thing that's around town, and see if what people are talking about them. What are they saying? And this is, again, this is part of the research with any marketing plan. So obviously with this comes perform a competitive analysis. So like I said, I did this with any kind of developer I went with, and even when I was on my own, I had my own agency, I did this with every business I went in. I shopped their competition, and I would look at, okay, what is the competitor? What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? Because this is going to help you when you are going against and trying to get a listing. You have that particular competitor there. You can already set the stage for that seller to know how you are stronger than them. So here's an example of XY Real Estate. They're 13 years in operation. Their strengths are multiple buyer and seller agents and licensed assistants. Their weakness is they only focus on luxury homes and they have a crowded website. So here's how you can capitalize, this is just an example, on your competitors' weaknesses. And this is, again, once you learn their weakness, you totally can use that to your advantage. So because of their weakness was they only focus on luxury homes, this competitor can overcome that by including low to mid-range homes in our listings, publish how-to blog articles on spotting diamonds in the rough, determining how much home you need on it, and calculating mortgages, because obviously they're going after that low to mid-range home. So then they need to write content that's going to appeal to those people. And then you can even hold a seminar on finding the right home, because they're only focused on luxury. So they've missed the whole back end of the market. Then after you have that, performing a SWOT analysis. So what a SWOT analysis is determining your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that are going to help you to develop your goals and your objectives. So this is tough for some people because a lot of people don't understand what their weaknesses are, or they're afraid to admit what their weaknesses are. Let's face it, we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And I guarantee if you guys are honest with yourselves, this can actually even help you with your business, because things that you can realize that you're weak at, and I've seen this across in regions. I've seen agents team up with other agents because of their weakness, and it balances them out. And you can actually then go after an agent or ask to partner with an agent that has a strength that you're missing. And that's going to then balance you out. And I've seen it. There's a huge team in Miami Beach. There's only 2 women, and they do this. They literally do this with the strengths and weaknesses. So here's an example of a SWOT analysis. You can have your strengths. So maybe the strengths are you have a solid understanding of the challenges facing first-time home buyers. Your weaknesses are your overstaff. Obviously, that's not a weakness probably in this time of market that we're in. But your opportunities, you could raise brand awareness among first-time home buyers. Your threat would be cash flow would force you to reduce your staff. So again, this is just an example of a company. But use yours for yourself and determine, like, maybe you're not as strong with marketing and you need more help with that. Or maybe you have a threat of another agent using similar things as you. Like, just really be honest with you and do an analysis. So then it'll help you to determine how you can push your strengths and your opportunities more rather than the weaknesses and the threats. So here's how you can use it to your advantage. So obviously the strength was solid understanding of challenges facing first-time home buyers. So then you can leverage that with developing a guide on things to consider when buying your first home. Or you can offer a seminar for first-time home buyers. See, like, as you do these things, you start to then get marketing ideas. And that's the point of doing these activities. You could develop a plan to capture attendee information, advertise your seminar on blog and social media, or hold a seminar as soon as possible. And this doesn't have to be a seminar. It could be, you could do a podcast, or you could just go Facebook Live and do something like that. There's actually an agent right now who does a lot of stuff with just going live every day at a certain time. And he calls it his show. That can be an option. So first and foremost is to create a buyer persona. This is going to help you know who you are marketing to and what their pain points are, and as well as their demographic traits. So it'll help you personalize more of your marketing materials so that you can target that audience in that particular group. Here's how you can identify your target audience. And this is crucial in any kind of marketing plan that you're doing. So obviously, like I said before, is that you have to determine, is it a first-time home buyer? Is it a seller? Is it an investor? Is it an empty nester? Those are all things that you want to consider because their messaging is very different, obviously. So think about what the target client's persona is. Once you know who you're targeting, you can then further develop their persona. So those important details will help you with your strategy and be more effective and more efficient. So here are some questions that you can ask, such things as like, where do they want to live? How old are they? What is their annual household income? Or what is their household makeup? Like, do they have children? Do they have children that are in college? Are they empty nesters? Like, you could think of this stuff. This all determines, and you see, like, as you market, it's totally different how you market to these people. And what do they want from their home? What are feelings and concerns about searching for and purchasing their home? So obviously, depending on where they're at, first-time homebuyer versus empty nester, they're thinking of different things and they have different feelings. So just keep these things in mind. Another thing to think about is the groups. So you can actually have target groups for your marketing efforts. We're defined by audiences large enough to generate the number of sales and listings that you want. So some of those characteristics that you could think about are like income brackets, age groups, your geographic areas, maybe even ethnic or culture groups, levels of education or certain professions. We used to target, we had a community that was near a new up and coming hospital. So we had all of our marketing driven to the medical profession. So that's just an example of that. You know, if you see something that's coming up, and it was actually that Scripps up north, up in Jupiter. When that Scripps came in, we had a community right by it. So all we did, I remember I marketed all to medical professionals. So that's just an idea. If you see something like that coming in the area and you know that a big community or the area is going to get heavily saturated with that business, then that's something to think about. And also then that lifestyle. So obviously lifestyle is huge down here. And if they're golfers or if they're buying a second home or boaters, those are all things to keep in mind. Because then you have to think about when you do your marketing, you put those things that are going to appeal to them. So obviously you would use lifestyle photos if you are targeting a golfer with golf. So then think about the market condition obviously plays a huge role in your marketing plan, which right now is a perfect example. This COVID has really changed how everyone's doing their marketing. So right now, a lot of people are not utilizing print materials. They don't want a newspaper, they don't want magazine. And so like Caldwell, what they did for the listing concierge, they took away the magazine for the summer. They're not using that View magazine, they're going all digital, and they've increased their digital advertising. That's a perfect example of how adjusting your marketing plan because of the market condition. So then an example too is if it's a strong seller's market, it may require a plan that focuses on why a real estate professional is needed in that transaction. If it's a weak economy, it might suggest highlighting your ability to help with financing as part of your marketing. So you got to keep in mind of what's going on in the economy and the world. That's also going to affect how you are marketing yourself in a big way. And then really know your buyer. So know who are you presenting to. So for example, if you're going in and you say, well, the ideal buyer for this home is probably a newlywed couple, maybe they've got a child, maybe a child on the way, they're buying this 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the move-up part of town out of a condo as an example. That person's on Facebook in my marketplace. There's 7,500 of them, or there's 15,000 of them right here in your local marketplace. So then you can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is after you've done the research. This is why the research is so important. Then you can go back to the Mr. and Mrs. Seller and say, hey, I know the exact type of buyer because I've created an avatar based on who they are. I've already done some research on Facebook to let you know there's 31,000 of them. And the moment you list your home with me tonight, my marketing team and I are going to go back and run very specific strategic ads directly to them, driving them in their native world, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this would be huge, guys, if you had this. And you knew before you even go into a listing, you research who most likely is to buy that house, and you had these facts. I guarantee there's no other agent that's sitting here doing this right now. They are not sitting here telling you the facts of how many people they're going to be able to target, and they know who's going to buy that home. And you have that CBX exchange, which is a huge advantage to you because it's going to tell you who's most likely to buy where your listing is. So learn the buyer's buying cycle. And really, this is a cycle really across the board. And pretty much anytime you buy anything, this is pretty much how it is. You get awareness, so you find out about it, then they consider it, so they consider all their options, and then they make a decision. That really is across the board in anything that you buy. So this is what they go through when they think about choosing you as their agent. So here are some fun facts that I just had to put in here because I just want to show you guys that these 70 to 90% of the buyer's journey is complete prior to engaging with a vendor. That's huge. That shows that how much they're doing their research before they even get in front of you. A consumer engages with 11.4 pieces of content prior to making a purchase. Think about that for a second. 11 pieces of content. That's a lot of information. And you know that we live in a world now where we are filled with so much information, and everyone does their research so much more now before they make a decision. And consumers are 5 times more dependent on content than they were 5 years ago. Content, you hear that, guys? Content. So everyone that's been in my classes, you know how much I push blogging. This is what I mean. You need content. This is what they're doing. They're going online and they're reading. They keep reading and reading before they make a decision. So here's the next step. Step 3 would be to explain your strategy. These are all the things that we're going to go over. So I'm not going to say them. Let's just go into them. So here, the first step would be to create a strategy. So now that you've done your research, you have all that data in your bag, now it's time to plan the strategy for your plan. So whittle your goals down. Obviously, goals are the most important part of the plan. Setting both quantitative and qualitative goals around these findings, as well as developing key KPIs. If anyone doesn't know what KPIs, that's key performance indicators, will be essential. So goals should be obtainable, but not easy. You want to make sure that you're reaching for growth, but not shooting for the stars, because you don't want to get discouraged. You want to make sure that you can obtain it, and you want to be happy and proud of yourself when you obtain that goal. So it's got to be somewhat of a challenge. So here are some general tips to keep in mind when developing marketing goals and objectives. Develop your current position in the market and set realistic goals. Understand your growth year to date. Tie your goals to your business's overall mission and vision. This is huge. And this is, again, when I go back to this beginning of this presentation, this is what I said is if you can set your goal overall for your business in the forefront, that's going to actually trickle down to how you plan your marketing strategies and what you're targeting in the long run. Don't overwhelm yourself. Pick 2 main goals and 3 to 5 supporting goals. Accept that sometimes you are going to fail. Let's face it, guys, we all fail. Failure, though, is a learning tool. It's not to get discouraged. It's a great opportunity for learning. Know what makes you unique. This is huge. Everyone has a unique selling proposition. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've been in this business 1 day or 20 years. Everybody has something unique about them that they can leverage. And you guys need to determine what that is for yourself. So here's some ways to differentiate yourself by creating your unique selling proposition. And this is, everybody does this, guys. Every company has a unique selling proposition. Every company I've ever worked with has a unique selling proposition. You have to determine this. So here's a little key that I put in here that you guys can use. And I can share this presentation with anyone that wants this at the end, just so you know. But what this is this basically helps you create your unique selling proposition. So you see it's 4. So over here on the left would be how you would go by. This would be like your little cheat sheet. And then all the way on the right, you would say 4. Okay, so it's 4, your target customer. In the middle, they're giving you a sample of it. So it's for home buyer clients. Obviously, this could be however you want it. It could be sellers, whatever, investors. Who needs it? So you pick the problem or the challenge that you're going to solve. The company, so what are you giving? Their product or your solution? What are you going to provide? What is the benefit of being with you and working with you? And then what is your cost? And don't be shy about your cost. Don't alter that. Keep your cost and be confident with it. And then our competition. So you're unlike your competition. How? How do you differ from your competition? And that's a lot of things what Coldwell Banker does. So just know that there's a lot of factors that we know about our competition too, that we try to always provide you guys with other tools and stuff to help you guys stand out amongst the competition. So then how do you do this? So we do this by, so how do you do it? What are you going to do in there to make yourself stand out? And then as demonstrated, right? So you want to say proof points if you have those. So those can be testimonials or referrals or anything that you have. If you have sales, so many sales in the year, you put those proof points in there. So then you're going to say, like, what makes you unique? How do you set yourself apart? So here are some things to consider. So consider your own strengths and weaknesses and focus on the qualities and skills that make you special to potential customers. So express your message in languages that target your audience. So for example, don't use current slang to sound cool when your audience is over 40. So here are some things to think about to help you differentiate yourself. Is think about maybe your education. Like for example, if you have a law degree or CPA, I actually just met with an agent. They were brand new and they had a law degree. And I was like, that's a huge benefit for you. You could actually show that you have a huge legal advantage and an understanding to help in the transaction process. So think about those things. You know, if you are a resident in the neighborhood that you're farming, you know, that helps you get knowledgeable about the services and activities that are going to happen in that neighborhood, especially too if you're on the HOA. If you notice, a lot of these agents, they put themselves on the HOA on the board because of that. They're going to stand out if they're on the HOA board. If you have a leadership role in the community or a professional group, that's also going to help benefit. That's a benefit, and that could be used in your unique selling proposition. That's a first access to new ideas in the industry and sources of solution to problems via networking. Or if you have a natural affinity to a certain group, so seniors, maybe you have a grandma that lives in a senior community, or maybe you're a senior yourself. And whatever way it is, it's going to give you a special understanding of the needs and desires of that group. And let's face it, guys, we live in such a cliquey area down here. All of these groups, they all flock together. They really do. And I noticed this when I came down here. Like Spanish, they have a thing where they stick together. Spanish people, like, and it's different Spanish. Like Argentinian, to me, they stick together different than Cuban. So like, think about, if you have that niche or that advantage, that's going to help you target that market. So then map out the qualities that are going to make your business unique. So here's the thing, is to think about the differentiator. So this was an example, is first-time homebuyer expertise. So then how would they do it? The top 3 buyer agents have 60 plus years combined experience. So this 60 plus years, this is such a marketing gimmick that has been used for so many years. This is something easily that you guys can do. So a lot of you agents have come to me that you're brand new, you don't know what to do, how to market yourself. This could be a great way that you can take an advantage. If you have even 5 years of experience, if you go and link up with an agent who has, say, 20 years experience, already you just gave yourself 20 plus years experience that you could now market yourself with. You can now go out and say, I have 21 or 25 years experience combined. That's the key, put the combined in. But just know that's the little marketing things that people use. Those are the little terms and things that they make themselves look more marketable. And that's a great way to get over the fact if you are new in the industry. Link up with a more experienced agent, then you can market yourselves together. And it doesn't have to be all the time. I actually met 2 agents down in Pinecrest. They were just starting to do their marketing together, but they were still going to operate. They were going to test it. So they called it like I can't remember what they said, but it was like the dating phase. That's what they said. It was a dating phase to see if it worked for them. And they were only going to do a couple of things, whatever generated from that marketing, they would do together, and then they would still keep them stuff separate. So just know that that's an option too. You have a lot of things here you could do. So know it's working, because last year, 18% of our first-time homebuyer clients indicated they had spoken with another company before signing with us. So that's a proof point. That's an example of a proof point that they have. So here's where you have to ensure that you have a strong brand. So a brand doesn't necessarily have to always be a logo. A lot of people think it is. It doesn't have to be. I've seen a lot of successful agents use their face. So you are a brand. Your face is a brand. The key with any brand is consistency. So if it is your face or your picture, then that picture needs to be on every marketing thing that you do. It needs to be on your website, on your printed collateral materials, on your business cards, on your emails, on your social media, that picture should be the same and repeated in every aspect of your marketing materials. If it's a logo, you know, we have Design Concierge that can help with a logo. That too would be something that I would make sure is on every single thing that I do. It's consistency that is the key. It's not about the logo. It has nothing, I mean, do you think this swoosh is that fancy? No, that is like the silliest logo ever, but that is one of the most recognizable brands in the world. Everyone knows that swoosh. And I mean, look at Facebook. It's literally just font. There's nothing fancy about it. So just keep that in mind, as you don't have to go crazy with a logo. It's consistency and it's your message that makes that logo stand out. It's not the logo itself. So one of the things to keep in mind when you're doing this is you have to optimize your website. So what that I mean is it has to be working, and this is your InTouch site, if you have your InTouch site. So optimizing is making sure that it's clear message and it's easy to navigate and find the information. Also is your SEO. So if anyone's taken my InTouch classes, SEO is huge. This to me is the basis of all your marketing, because let's face it, everybody is online. Most of the time, if somebody's going to work for you or work with you, they're going to Google you. So that's a strategy that I would take with you guys. Make sure you're Googling yourself every now and then to see what's popping up for you. Make sure that your website pops up. And those are things that you could make sure by putting in your name in the SEO fields. I teach this a lot in my InTouch, but when you go to InTouch, they have a section in there for your title and your meta description. Your meta description, you should be putting your name in both if you want your name to pop up more. You also should write about, like, make sure you have in your bio your name repeated, write in like third person. This way you can have your name always optimized, so if somebody's Googling you, you're going to get found. Then I have create content. Content is key, guys. Content is key in every single marketing message that you do. It's how Google finds you. It's the brand that you are displaying. This is why I see everything has to be reviewed. Like, you guys should be managing your brand, and that's everything. So this is why I say when the listing concierge, even though they're doing everything for you, you should be managing every single message that is going out about you. So if that listing concierge, you should be reviewing all of that copy in there. That should be consistent with the other copy that you're putting out in the other marketing materials. So consistent with the brochure, the postcard, the TV ad, the view ad, all of that needs to remain consistent. Your blog posts, your newsletter, your emails, all of that needs to stay consistent with your messaging. This is the content that you need. And see, look, and buyers aren't the only ones that like helpful content. Google does too. Yes, Google loves content. This is what I tell all the time, you guys. This is the only way Google searches and finds people is through content. Creating solid content is hugely important for your SEO strategy. It really is. That's why blogging is so great. So your content is essential in nurturing your customers as they move through your buyer's journey. So in order to do this successfully, you need to know what types of content to use and when. And this is going to also help you with your marketing plan, because as you decide these, then you can put these into your plan. So for the awareness stage, these are things like ebooks, e-guides, like these e-guides, we have these available on InTouch. They have buyer's guide and they have seller's guides. That's your first awareness stage right there of directing people to your website. See why your website needs to be complete? You have white papers, you have editorial content, blog posts. You got a blog, guys, you got a blog. And then considering stage. So the consideration stage are webinars, webcasts, podcasts, video. These are your live video feeds. These are what's going to help you get out there. Expert solution guided oriented white paper. So again, this could be stuff that you write about. You guys are experts in your field, and you need to share how you're experts in your field. Share what you know. And then the decision to stage is more of the product comparisons, the case studies of free trials, downloads, the product focused content. So that's going to be more where they finally make a decision. They're going to actually then compare you to your competitors. So you need to know how you're going to stand out amongst them. So this is where you're going to define your distribution channels. So this is where you're going to have to figure out, okay, what am I going to put in my plan? What am I willing to spend? How am I going to do this? And so obviously email and social media. So the first thing I would do is select 2 or 3 medias to convey your message and allow for cross marketing amongst several different sources. So media choices can include print, online, billboards, bus benches, in-person marketing, and more. Be sure that you have a strong and active presence across all your social media sites. So again, you've got to be consistent no matter which ones you're using, be consistent. So whether you choose to put attention on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, you have to monitor and update your page on a regularly to maintain and heighten that level of communication. So you've got to be consistent. And I tell this all the time because everyone asks me, well, how much should I be posting or how much should I be emailing? Again, this is where the plan will come into place. And I'm going to show you an example of a marketing plan that I used to do, or a template that I used to use. But you'll see how I have it broken down. I had it broken down by month, and each month I would know what I was doing that month. So again, and I would have even a social media calendar. A social media calendar is going to help you get in front of this so much better and plan your social media. You know, CB Florida now has all those social media for all the holidays. You can download those now and schedule those in advance to all of your social media accounts, because now you can schedule a majority of them. This is something that you have to plan. And when you have it planned out, it's so much easier to keep consistent than when you don't know what you're doing. Because I have so many agents that come to me and they're like, oh, I just throw stuff up. I realize that I hadn't put anything up and I throw something up real quick. Well, that's not very effective, guys. That's not going to help you in the long run. You got to have a plan and you got to stay consistent. And you can even do themes. So maybe you have maybe you have a specific day where you do market update Mondays. Like I told you this, Gary Lanham, he's over in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach area. He actually does themes on Facebook for certain days. Like Tuesdays, he does like Ask Gary, I think, or something, or I can't remember his themes, but he has a theme for every day. And he basically goes and does these videos. So where he talks about what's his theme is. I think one, he has a market update. One is like what's going on in the community, or a restaurant, naming a restaurant or something. But he's kept it consistent, and he's now starting to get a lot of like traction on those. So it builds familiarity. Like, here's market update Mondays. Like maybe you say on Mondays, I'm going to do a market. So then they know every Monday you're going to have an update on the market. And they'll start to rely on that. And again, this stuff takes time, but after you start working it, and as long as you stay consistent, you'll see after a few months, it'll start gaining traction. It's not going to be right away. Don't expect anything to be right away with anything social media or anything marketing. It's never right away. Posting regular video updates to YouTube or similar video sharing sites is also huge. And videos, obviously with the current situation we're in, are getting so huge right now. They're gaining so much traction. So keep that in mind, because they're going great on social media too. And you could just do a chat of yourself. You just got to get more comfortable on the camera. So determine the best places for your media. So here's an example of an outline of what you could present if you have this in mind of what you're going to present to a seller. And then obviously I would lay this out across the year. So this was just a quick little outline. We strategically place your home online. Unlike other companies, I receive all the leads we get on your home. In addition, your home will be on and have a page that shows all the websites. So we have this in Moxie. Just so you know, we have exactly that in Moxie. Extra professional pictures online. Share bad photos versus quality. This is again breaks down this list of the 12-minute listing presentation that is in Moxie as well. That links with the listing concierge. You can show your virtual tour online and show them one that you've made. Your staging, if necessary, explain the stats on home stage versus not. Create a professional brochure flyer, show them one that you've created. And this is where if you use Listing Concierge, I highly encourage that you keep a few of those pieces once you do one of your orders, because now those pieces will become your listing presentation. So send postcards to neighbors. Again, like see if you had a postcard with that listing concierge, you can then show this as an example. Notify agents in my office, my region, across the globe about the property. That's the update. That's in listing concierge. That's what goes out in the update. And then you would have to organize and hold open houses. So you would describe your open house strategy, even create a flyer to illustrate this. But this would all be part in your plan. So you could basically take that listing concierge breakdown and put a plan together exactly like I'm going to show you in a second. So then other things would be to personally invite your neighbors to the open house broker preview. Prospecting daily. So these are things that you would say is what you're doing to help find a buyer for their home. You're doing aggressive follow-up with prospective buyers. Explain the training and designations received by you. Hold a broker open house. You'll advertise weekly check-in calls to stay on the pulse. Automatically via email send you all feedback from showings. Automatically email new listings, pendings, and sales in your neighborhood. And review pricing weekly and notify you immediately of market changes. So my team does 100% of the showings. You can say whatever that applies to you. You've hired us to sell your home. That's our job. This is just an example of a pitch to go in. So here's where you would actually create your action plan and a schedule. So organization and consistency is key. This is with any marketing plan. So you have to determine how you want to do this. And so I always say I have a calendar with everything in marketing that I ever did. You have blog posts. So I used to do, and don't kill yourself with blog posts, guys. If you can't do it, I mean, this is 3 times a week. That is extremely aggressive. I used to do 1 blog post a week. And I basically sat for one day, an hour or 2 that day, and I wrote a bunch of blog topics. And that was me going to other markets, looking at what blogs they're doing, looking at other developers. Developers are a great source for blog posts because they basically have someone that's constantly doing that on a constant basis. And look at a mirror market like California is I used to look at California all the time because you can look at what they're doing and you know that it's not affecting anything over here. And they really are a great mirror market for Florida. So look at the content. So blog posts, you would determine how often you're going to do that. Cold calling, you would have to set time aside each day to reach out to those sale by owner properties, expired listings, other prospects. Have your phone script ready. Your email campaign, send an email to a target client once or twice a month. Again, you just have to be consistent. Whatever it is, just make sure you're consistent. I wouldn't do it every week. I would try to do it at least once or twice. Track which days of the week you receive the best response. This is a great way to alternate. I used to do this all the time with email campaigns. Just, if you send it out on a Tuesday, see what your response is, and then try it again on a Wednesday or a Friday and see what you're getting, and you'll be able to see who's responding more on what days. I can tell you Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always great. Same with posting on social media. I used to switch up. If you switch up the days that you're posting, you'll see what kind of interaction you get. But obviously with social media, it's a great way to share your local market updates and to show walkthroughs, which we know now the virtual tours are getting so popular, and you have your Facebook Live, which is getting so popular. So then the SEO is get found. So again, you have to get found in order to find you on social media, even on your websites. SEO is crucial. This is optimizing your content. So after you do all this, defining your key performance indicators and your measurements methods is key. So if you're not measuring your marketing, then I would say, are you able to determine what is effective and what's not? So I highly recommend that you have to measure your marketing. You have to see what you're spending and what's working and what's not. And that's really more so for this, and I would do that even for the stuff that you're not spending money on. So even for email blasts, again, I would be looking at the open rate and looking at the times that you send these versus other times and see what's getting more effective. Who opens it more on certain days or certain times? Like that all needs to go into consideration. So as much as you can measure your results, it's huge. So you can determine once you're measuring your results is are you achieving your goals that you have in your plan? And this should be something that in your plan, once you have that plan set, you should be measuring and analyzing this on a constant basis. So then you can alter your plan where necessary. Like maybe if you had an ad that you were running in a magazine twice, for 2 months, it wasn't pulling anything, then maybe you decide, okay, I'm not going to keep spending money on that. I'm going to pull it. Maybe I'm going to put more money into a digital ad instead. So this is where you have to, really measure stuff and to see what's working and what's not, so that you can improve your marketing campaigns and not continue to spend money that isn't working. So keep track of your costs. And one way to do this is by calculating cost per contact. So an example of this is if you mail out 500 brochures at a cost of $2,500 and you only receive 10 inquiries, well, you know that your cost per contact is $250. So that's going to, like, when you start doing stuff like this, guys, you're going to start to see, like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to be doing that. Or maybe I'm going to put my money into something more efficient. It's just these little things start to make sense. They start to make sense over time on how you're going to actually approach your marketing and how you make changes to be more effective in your marketing. Because if you just keep sending this out and you're wasting money and you're costing $250 a contact, I mean, think about that. That's $250 a contact. That's like expensive contact. That's like, I would not pay $250 for a lead. That's a lot. So then this was another thing, is maybe set up a separate savings account for your marketing fund so you won't be tempted to dip into them for expenses. Typically they say 10% of the funds for personal marketing, 30% for new prospects, 60% for repeat business. I mean, obviously I think everyone's different. This was a very general statement, so I don't say it to live or breathe by. I think you have to do with what you're comfortable with. And every market's different. But measuring is crucial. So as soon as you put your marketing plan into action, starting to track and measure and report is huge. So even certain things of like knowing, the first thing that you should ask when somebody calls is like, how did you hear about me? How did you find me? Or how did you get my number or whatever? That needs to be asked all the time. I would have my salespeople ask that as soon as they, I had a form, even when they walked into the sales office, the first question was asked was, how did you hear about this? And again, it's never 100% effective because some people don't even remember where they heard. Some people, it could have been something else and then they came to you. So who knows? It's never 100%, but at least if you get a good qualified measure, you could then be able to then make effective suggestions for your marketing plan. So the ability, obviously, to measure is huge, especially with inbound marketing. So inbound marketing is anything that's with content. That's your inbound marketing effort, which has gotten really, really big across a lot of corporations now. It's one of the most popular forms of marketing right now. I'm not saying to not do any outbound like direct mail. This was just an example of the inbound for measuring, but you can absolutely measure this. A good thing with inbound as far as blogs and all that is getting your Google Analytics set up, because the Google Analytics, what that does is that tells you everything that's going on with your website. So if you are doing blogs, this is a great way to measure it. I used to be able to tell who was coming from what page that I had. So I would be able to see if they found my website or if they found my blog. And this is how I knew how effective my blogging was, because I would see that they would find my blog before they'd even find my website. So those are things to look at. And then you also can help you make your website better when you have these Google Analytics in place. Because what you're going to see is that maybe people bounce off of a page quicker, or they leave your site, and you'll be able to see the page that they bounce off of. And then what you can do is go put more content. Remember, content is the key. Go put more content on your site to make it more interesting and see if you can lower that bounce rate. So creating tactical plans. So these are, once you have a strategy in place, you can decide what tactics are important for success of that strategy. So for example, you might decide to focus on 4 main tactics just for the year, such as blogging, website, SEO improvement, and maybe a custom list development for email campaigns. So while you may still want to work on your social media strategy and PR for the year in question, you'll devote majority of your budget towards the 4 main tactics that are top priority for your growth. So these are things that you guys have to determine on what do you think is going to make your business grow more? Where are your clients more coming from? Where are your leads coming from? These are all things that you have to look at. And if you have no idea what your website's doing, this is why I say get the Google Analytics in place. If you guys are sending out direct mail pieces and you have no idea if you've gotten any calls off of it, this is again where you have to put things in place. You could even put a certain phone number that you could track. I used to have a tracking number for every single piece that I did, so I knew what was effective. Because I actually had this manager one time who he swore by magazine ads, and I was swearing that I was going to prove him wrong. So I put a tracking number on every single magazine ad, and by the end of 2 months, we evaluated how many calls we got. It was an eye opener for him of how much it was not working. The home run for me. But those are just the little things to keep in mind. You could even create a certain website. So certain people, if you see that you have a website, you could even create a landing page on your direct mail piece. That could be an option where you don't have to pay for a call center for a number. But maybe you have, like, say, my website's laurenjohnson.com. I could do / whatever, COVID, or / special, or coupon, or whatever it is. You could put that and make a landing page, and then you know that now if people go to that site, that's because of that marketing piece that you did. So a list, overarching strategy and tactical plans. Having tactical plans and calendars gives life to your ideas and strategy. Trying to focus on 4 to 5 main tactics for the year and create execution plans around these. It's keep in mind that your tactics may or may not be the same as your goals. So if your goals are high level, like to increase traffic by 50%, then your tactic would drill down more on how to get that result. So how are you going to achieve that 50%? So be the name implies, and more tactical. So just remember, guys, with the marketing plan, it's a guide. It's not a Bible. So it can change, and it will change. With certain things like this, a perfect example with the COVID on changing your plan. So nobody can predict the future, which is why it's so vital to remember that your marketing plan should be a living, working document. So you're always going to be changing it. It's always going to be moving and flowing for you guys. It's never going to be 100%. Like, so certain things that you may think may be effective, and then you see after a couple months they're not working, that's when then you go in and you adjust it. So plan the work and work the plan. Okay, so let me show you. I want to show you before I open up the questions. This was an example of a plan, a marketing plan / budget that I used to use. And I use this template for everything that I ever did. So this was a system that was, this was a 6-month plan. Now I'll say 6 months is pretty much ideal. It's really hard to do a year. I mean, but you can, it's basically take the same thing, but you see how I have it. So I had proposed newspapers. Obviously this was old, this was 2008, and I have it broken down by the months. And so then I have in here my budget, so I can then go over and I could see how much I'm spending on that particular one, my total cost for those 6 months. And then what this is going to show me is not only does it keep track of my budget, but then every month I know, okay, if I came to May and I'm in May, I know, okay, I have an ad running, I have all these ads running that I have to prepare and make sure that I'm ready, you know. And if I keep going down, now I have my online area. So then I have, okay, what emails am I going to send out? Where am I going to do my other things? You have this stuff in here. So then it keeps you more organized of what you're going to do on your strategy and your plan. Then you have the collateral material. So this can be like your direct mail or your brochures that you're sending out. It could be your promotions or your open houses. This would be, again, where you could put how much are you spending, how often are you doing it, and you can have this broken up for each listing that you have. It's just a great way to keep track of everything. And then you have the monthly totals here, and then I have the overall totals on the side over here. And again, I could share this with any of you if you want, if you guys know Excel. It's just creating formulas. But it keeps track, like I just had this with an agent yesterday. This is where I'm seeing the need with a lot of you guys that you don't have, is how to keep track of your marketing and in place. And this is the way to do it. So even if you took this, like I would even do this if you do the listing concierge, you can break it down the same way. Is at least you know, and you can even break down your listing concierge of what's going to go out. Like, you know, you get that proposed date timeline when you order it. So then you could say, okay, I know immediately they're going to send the update out. So I know that within the first month, the update's going to go out. Then probably within the next month, the View magazine would go out. And then maybe the month after that, I don't think it's that far off, but you can scatter it too, just so you know, a listing concierge. You can actually tell them that you want to post it out longer, and that can actually spread out for your listing if you needed to. Because I have had agents where they did want to do that. Or you can have it all go at once if you think it's going to be more effective, but at least they'll keep you track of what you're doing and what you're spending. So even if you're creating thank you cards or something, you can put this in here as a cost, and you know, then can keep track, okay, what did I do for this listing? And then you have everything in one place. So what questions do you guys have for me? Or what did you guys think? Share the Excel spreadsheet? Yeah, I'll share.
Lauren.
Yeah, just send me an email. Anyone who wants to, wants anything that I said, the presentation or the spreadsheet, just send me an email because I can't tell who's on it. Adele, so you say, do you recommend we hire a separate full-time marketing person to do all this? Because between showing homes, listing appointments, preparing for both, negotiating contracts, doing social media sailing, there's simply not enough hours in the day. No, I hear you. So I get it. I get it completely. If you have the ability to hire somebody, yes, obviously that's always going to make your life easier. But if you don't, I think if you can have this where you spend the time, at least the first time to do this, you'll see how fast, easier it'll go as you go across to other plans. It's just doing the research. I think it is hard to do all this. I agree. I mean, you guys, it's tough to do the sales and the marketing.
Lauren.
Yes.
And Platt, can you hear me?
Yes,
you
I can hear you.
Something about inbound marketing and outbound marketing, and I didn't exactly understand what that is. Can you amplify a little bit?
Sure. So inbound marketing is really content driven. So that would be like your blogs, blog posting, websites, doing e-guides, anything really online is pretty much your inbound marketing. Social media. Your outbound is going to be anything that you're sending out, mailing out, advertising, that stuff. So inbound has got, and if you actually look at it, most of the corporations and businesses have gone to inbound marketing. And this is why I'm pushing blogging. I push blogging so much because it really is the way that people spend so much time online, becoming more and more popular.
Okay, thank you.
Lori Fine said, I used to be a corporate strategic planner, marketing communications consultant. This presentation is excellent, comprehensive, and relevant. Well, thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. Can we get a copy of the slides? Yes. I have no problem sharing that. Just send me a message so I don't forget, because I will once I close out of this. And as far as marketing, if you guys want a person, I would recommend to go to the Fort Lauderdale Art Institute. You know, those are hungry college kids that probably know a lot of this stuff that I said, and they could help you in a cheaper way. But I'd be happy to share these templates. I'd be happy to work with any of you guys on planning your marketing or giving any ways that could help you with your marketing plan. I think
I'm sorry, Lori. I think the Art Institute is closed.
Oh yeah, it is because of college, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Where did all those kids go though? We have to find them somewhere.
Right. Lauren, I was going to ask you someplace in the South, Fort Lauderdale. I don't think a kid up there would want to drive down here to work.
Yeah, true.
Some of it can be virtual, but I mean, I've never met my webmaster and she's on the West Coast. But
yeah, a lot of it can be virtual. I think a lot with the research is the key. You know, if you could just find somebody to like shop your competition or shop your area for you, that's a lot of the key stuff, in my opinion, for figuring out your plan.
But they need to have a feel, or in my head, I think they need to have a feel for the neighborhood. Like,
right. That's what I mean. They have to go visit that. Yeah, they have to. They can't be virtual for that.
You know, I mean, I had a person from England want to work for me, and I said, "And when were you in Florida last?"
Yeah, I wouldn't do that because they're not going to know the market. And like I said, I mean, because I used to work for developers, and every market I was in, every community we did, it was always different. Always the marketing strategy was different, even though the homes would be the same, depending on the market you go. As you guys know, it's very different on your messaging. You know, obviously Fort Lauderdale is very different than Pompano. You know, just that alone is a different message. Okay, so what other, oh, there's a lot in here. I didn't see all these questions. Okay. You're newly hired. This is Valerie. Nice to meet everyone. I'm newly hired. I have a website. Can I use that website name on my CV website instead of my name? Yeah, so Valerie, you can forward and mask your website, so you actually don't have to do anything. Just forward and mask it. If you need help, you can contact whoever your hosting is. You can contact them, or I'll do it for you. I've done it for a couple people real quick. Yeah, Dell says the kids would need to be in person all day remotely. Yeah, I agree. A lot of this can be done remotely, but I do think they do have to visit the neighborhood, like Ann said. They have to shop the competition and know the market that you're trying to farm. Eva, oh, you're welcome, Ellie. Please send PowerPoint. Yes, I will. Please send PowerPoint. Oh my God, you all want the PowerPoint. All right, got it, all you. So any questions you guys have for me? I know it's a lot of overwhelming stuff, I agree. But I think if you guys can determine and at least determine your goals and objectives, that's right there is gonna help you prepare for your plan in action. But a lot of this stuff with the planning is stuff that Coldwell Banker already provides, you know, with the listing concierge. I just put it more in a budget format so then you can keep track of more of your business expenses. And then it's a great thing to send to your seller. It looks more professional. So any questions you guys have? Are you guys good? Where are you at? I'll put my email in the chat. You guys can always reach out to me.
Okay, Lauren?
For one-on-ones, yes.
Everybody will probably get through their managers the mailing, but Express Docs has a real good deal on right now. It's just between now and I think May 22nd. But any mail outs, 200 pieces or more, would be $200, but they're $60 off. So you can mail 200 pieces with postage for $140.
Fabulous. You guys hear that? That's fabulous.
And it's a little less off if you're doing 100. There's a sliding scale, but this 200 for $140, I think it's fabulous.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get with it.
Yeah, that's great. That could give you guys an opportunity to market yourselves right now, to farm yourselves. And that's the thing, that people are actually still checking their mail, but they are not getting, it's ironic, they're checking their mail, but they're not picking up newspapers and magazines. So that's why for listing concierge, you could forego the brochures. So just in case anyone doesn't know, you can forego the brochures. This is going extended into May. It may get further extended, but right now it's the end of May. And you can get additional online advertising. And some of the packages, they're up to like almost a month of online ads when you forego those brochures. So pretty awesome. I'm a big believer in online advertising. Worked very well for me. And Alejandro said, thank you for the tip.
Thank you for the thank you.
Yeah. I love when you guys share. This is like what I say, this is one of the most helpful companies I've seen with agents. You guys really do help each other out. I think it's great. Okay, so any other questions you guys have for me? I mean, like I said, my email's lauren.johnson@floridamoves. You could ask me or feel free to any one-on-ones. Even if you want me to review a plan for you or help you make one, I'd be happy to do so. I'm here for you guys whenever you need. I was trying to give you guys more content that I haven't given before, so try something new.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. You guys are great.
Yes, thank you. When are you going to add some more hours to the day?
What?
That's Ann.
I can't add any more hours. I'm exhausted every day. I'm ready to go back to normal. Virtual thing wears me out. There's no downtime.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes, there's no downtime. Oh man, I know. I miss traveling from office to office. That was my relief. Yeah. So I hear y'all. I think all of us are ready to go back. Hopefully it's going to start going back soon. I know I can't wait to go back. This homeschooling thing, I'm over. Adele says, not me. You don't want to go back? Adele likes the virtual. Adele, do you have children? You must not have children at home, because anyone with children at home are ready to go back. Yeah, I don't have classes. She says she likes the meetings from my home. She has 3 kids. My God, Adele, I don't know how you do it. All grown. Oh, that's why. Well, you can borrow mine for a couple days.
It was interesting. This is Ann again. I don't know if anybody watches All Rise, which is a Monday or Tuesday night show when the heroine's a judge, but they were trying virtual trials, and they did one, and it just showed, the attorney or the judge or whoever was talking in their own little square. And at the end of it, I think it was a mistrial, but the judge said, I really don't like that because I couldn't get the feel of the person.
Oh.
She said, and the information was given out like, this is wonderful information. It came through beautifully, Lauren. I think you do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So, but if I wanted feedback from somebody, I'm thinking like with a listing, I want to make sure I can feel and understand what the person's feeling. And I'm not real sure I've been in a situation to do that. I mean, what you do is perfect for what you do. I'm just wondering if anybody else has any thoughts on that. Or made my question clear.
Yeah, I don't know what the question. Anyone else want to comment? Yeah, see, Alejandra asked, how do you cope with selling real estate and managing your marketing schedule all in one at the same time? It's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's not easy. So that's why I think when you have downtimes like we have right now, if you're a little bit down and slower, this is the time to do it. And like I said, is once you do one plan, the first plan is going to be the hardest one to do because it's going to be the hardest one for you. But I think once you do one, then you'll see it'll be easier to go along. Because it becomes kind of routine. You start to know the area, you start to know the target buyers, you start to know the persona that you're going to do already. You won't have to do much research, and then it'll kind of flow. But yeah, it's not. I'm not going to lie, it's not easy. This is why I guess we're here. You have me, you have Danielle. Why we're here to educate and help in any way that we can. Adele's the youngest now doing college at home. Yeah, that does suck for her. That really sucks for her. I would hate if I had to do college at home.
Half the fun was the parties.
Yeah, they're missing so much. It really sucks. I hope they even the seniors. I feel so bad. They don't even get a senior year. It's all sad. I guess I'm lucky that my kids they're missing kindergarten and 5th grade, so it's all right. All right, well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I'll let you guys go early. We finished early. Like I said, you could reach out to me with any other questions you have. And like I said, I'd be happy to help any way I can. You guys want to, I can help you outline a plan in any way that I can. I'm here, I'm available, so just let me know. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Bye, Lauren.
Bye.
Bye-bye.